percentage. We have that in Canada. That's also, that's for the record, that's like a communist idea. We have that in Canada. Okay? We don't have a flat tax, so it's not like everybody gets taxed 10%, 15%, 20%. As your income goes up, that higher portion of income gets taxed more. Not all of it. It's taxed differently at the more you make, right? But just because I know this number off the top of my head, for anyone in Canada, and this is a very small percentage of people, anyone who earns more than $300,000 of income, so let's say they earn $400,000 in 1 year. That last $100,000, they lose 50% of it to taxes.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of
Right? So part of the issue is like it doesn't necessarily incentivize people to earn more than $300,000 in Canada because half of it's just gone. Right? So think about like all that work you put into your class, half your grade I just take, half your grade above 85 I just take away. So let's say you finish with 100. This is pretty rare, right? Maybe you hit your head and you were in a coma and that's where you got your 100% in your dreams. But that last 15%, I take 7.5%, I give it to the person who's last place to bring them up, right?
Wild.
Right, allegedly, right? Does that make sense? So we have progressive tax rate. Hey, walk around behind. Okay. He was also against a variety of welfare programs. He was very against old age pension. So we have Canada Pension Plan, right? Milton Friedman's argument was that I actually read a fair bit of a book of his, so I actually know quite a bit of his ideas. He was against old age pension because he thought, hey, some people, they save for the future, right? They take a bit of their paycheck, they save, they invest, make sure they're set up for retirement. Whoa. Some people like gambling it all on red, right? They live in the moment, they don't want to save their money, live fast, die young, that kind of thing, right? Okay. Some people are all over the place, right? But you have these two extremes. Some people are like, when I'm retired, I want to be set. Some people are like, I don't know about tomorrow, never heard of her. Today is all we got, so they spend their money, right? Milton Friedman's argument was that you really don't know who is better off, right? 20 years from now, there could be a recession, so this person, like a decline in the economy, the person who was saving all their money, now their money's worthless. So that person who was living fast and dying young, they used their money as they were going, the recession hits, they're just like everyone else, except they had all these potentially beautiful, wonderful experiences using their money, right? So Milton Friedman was against this idea. It's basically, he's saying that the government is saying that they know better than you, so they're gonna take a bit of your paycheck, right? So let's say grades wise, they're gonna take a bit of your grades from grade 10, and they're gonna save them for you for grade 11, just in case you decide to be a nitwit in grade 11, and
yeah, let's do that.
Right? Okay? Or save it for grade 12, right? But like, what if you're a great student all 3 years? Right now your mark just takes a little hit, saving for a day where you don't need it. Okay, so that's kind of what he was saying about old age programs, pension programs. Okay, he believed they're unjust and unfair. Right? Who should make decisions for what happens to your money?
Yourself.
Perhaps you're pretty young, so maybe you might want to get some help from your parents, or your good old teacher, Mr. Kawaja. You know, I'll take care of your money for you.
Yes.
I'm joking.
10%.
For 10%, yeah. Who should make those decisions for your money?
Bank. No, actually, not your bank. Never do that.
Probably not. Anyone?
Personal bank. Your bond.
Safe.
yourself.
Right? Yourself, right? That's kind of the argument on the political right. That you have enough capacity to make these decisions on your own. It's your life. You can rock, paper, scissors me for 10% of your income. Okay, what's up? Everybody just wants to go to the washroom. No one's ever like, Mr. Kawaja, I have an interesting question to ask you. Go ahead. Okay, why care about these 3 old dead people? They're not all that old. Milton Friedman died in 2006, 2 years before you were born. 1 for some of you. You have a question?
How are we dealing with that penalty dust?
What's up? How about the other one who turned it to dust? You should care about his ideas as well. Right? The reason why you should know this stuff, not that it really dramatically impacts your life, right? Because let's be honest, that's also going on the YouTube. Your social studies course, 10, 11, 12, continues to examine different philosophies and different methods for which you should run a society, how you should deal with the economy, right? How you should deal with outsiders. And it's good to, get an in-depth understanding of these beliefs to kind of see how it's happening in the world, right? Because as you grow up, people are going to say, well, we should redistribute what you have to the people who don't have things. And you need to understand what is the motivation behind that, what is the reasoning, how do you defend yourself against something like that, how do you observe when it's happening, right? Because if you look at what happened in Russia and China, it was pretty terrible, and that can happen very quickly. Some people would argue that we're already on that kind of slope in Canada, particularly with what's going on with the new bill with the media. Okay. Some beliefs are more grounded in reality than others, right? Some people are a little bit more practical about how the world functions. Some beliefs, it takes time to see the fruit of their labor. Some beliefs sound really good on paper. Like if you're the broke person and they're talking about redistributing people's money, and basically they're saying, hey, you're going to get free money, that sounds like a pretty good idea, right? So my friends who are Brazilian, they told me that the reason why the leftist parties in Brazil keep getting elected is because they always promise social programs, education, healthcare is basically which is necessary, but they're basically saying to the poorest people in the country, like, hey, if you vote for us, we're just going to give you money. So they're just buying votes, which then negatively impacts most of the country.
That's a crime.
There are problems, and so Brazil.
Liberals do that.
Yeah, well, liberals are on the left, right?
It's the opposite, but same idea. They're buying votes.
What do you mean the liberals are the opposite?
Because the Brazilian party is right?
Well, I thought Lula got voted in again.
I don't know who's voted in, but I know who was right.
So
for a while.
Bolsonaro was the president of Brazil for some time, and he was on the political right.
Yeah.
Historically, Brazil in the last 10, 20 years, Brazil has really voted left wing.
Oh, okay, so it's the
Right.
same that
Yeah.
they're always voting left.
Literally, the guy this guy who's running the Brazilian, he was running for president. He spent time in jail for doing illegal stuff with government money, and now they voted the guy back in, right? Which is insane. But based on what? The promise that the people who are at the bottom will get money through some way or means, right? Usually by taking a lot of taxation and whatnot, right? And so some of these ideas sound really good on paper. They're able to buy people's votes. I would say that the liberal government did a lot to buy votes in 2014 when it promised to legalize marijuana. I'm sure they got the young voters to come out. And governments find different ways to find and buy votes, right? But one is a little bit more direct. It's basically like cash transfers. Others are not. Part of why knowing these gentlemen's ideas are important and why I included the years that they were alive is that, as we mentioned with the last one, Milton Friedman, not all of these people saw these major historical events play out. They didn't see how these governments formed, rose, and then fell, and what it did to the people. And so some of their ideas might be a little bit complete. Now, obviously, all of them have incomplete ideas because they're only alive for a finite amount of time. But some of the ideas are really, catastrophic, led to the deaths of millions of people, right? And some people might argue, well, capitalism takes advantage of people. But capitalism has also led to millions, if not billions, of people being lifted out of poverty. It's also created systems where people can get access to food. Many people all over the world, the access to food isn't just something that we experience here in North America or Europe. Many countries, I think it's been noted, and I'll use Africa as an example because historically people have used Africa as an example for poverty, but even in Africa now many people are getting the nutrients they need to the point where they're also suffering from obesity problems in Africa in some countries or some groups of people, right? But none of these sides are perfect. Some just produce better results for more people than others. You can make your own assessments for how to do that. Okay, now we get to even more boring things, kids. And the next couple of slides will relate to your assignment that you're going to do. Tomorrow you'll get 1 day for it because it's a pretty easy assignment, and then we'll present some things, okay? So the Bretton Woods Agreement is kind of where your actual curriculum wants to start. You're shaking your head, no, what's going on? Oh, you'll be okay. You did such a wonderful job last year and this year. What's up? You're gonna have to do it individually now because you asked. No, not you. Okay, so your curriculum actually wants you to start this unit just talking about from 1944 and onwards, but I personally included, providing you some history, a bit of an understanding. In 1944, does anyone have an idea what major world event ended around this time?
World War II.
No way, he raised his hand. Why are you shutting up? Okay, World War II, thank you. I'm pretty sure Japan took a little bit longer. They might have kind of surrendered late 1944, 1945, but for most of Europe and North America, the war ended in 1944 after the defeat of the Nazis and the Germans. World War II, oh, it's on the board. Okay, World War II comes to an end. The global leaders come together to determine how they will move forward economically, attempting to understand and solve the problems that led them to World War II. The goal was to create economic stability. One thing you'll learn about in grade 11 is that part of the reason why, a major reason why World War II even began was because the German population, Germany had to basically foot the bill for the entire cost of World War I, which led their country into deep poverty and deep debt. And then the